Alright, so I just got out of a screening of X-Men Days of Future Past. It was good. It was really good. Better than I thought it was going to be. This new film is sort of a sequel to both First Class and 3 and the Wolverine. The story of it is not the main character X-Men that you see before, but like Iceman and I don't really know their names. I'm not that big of a fan of the movies to know their names, but the one played by Alan Page, just the random X-Men, they get together along with Xavier and Magneto and stuff and send back Logan in time to like the 70s, right after the events of First Class, so he can stop Raven or Mystique from killing this guy who's in charge of the Sentinel program that would in the future wipe out all of the mutants and parts of humanity as well. This was a more darker take on the X-Men series than what I'm used to, and I really liked the tone it took. It's also very, very gory, way more gorier than most X-Men movies. Because it deals with time travel, it feels it has the liberty to kill off a lot of its characters. You see a lot of like just the random X-Men being ripped in half, having their arms being shot off by the Sentinels, being stabbed. It's really heart-wrenching, emotional, and just cool at times. Peter Dinklage plays the sort of villain in the movie, the guy who's making the Sentinels, who I found they didn't really explain his motivation as to why he wants to wipe them out. He just thinks the mutants are a threat. But there's this one scene with him where he's like, they can usher us into an age of peace. I think his motivation is he thinks that humanity can bond over their shared hatred of the mutants and wipe them out. I really don't know, but this was a really, really good movie. James McAvoy played young Charles Xavier again, and he shines as that character. Through and through, he plays it fantastically. The first half of the movie actually shows him struggling with what I think they're trying to show as a drug addiction. He's addicted to this stuff that he takes that makes it so he can walk, but if he takes it, he can't use his powers anymore, so he's trading his powers for the ability to walk. And the first half of the movie is him, Beast, and Logan trying to stop Mystique from killing this guy while he's also trying to get over this addiction to this drug. A lot of the side storylines in it like that. There's this other side storyline with, I don't know what the actor's name is, but he was in American Horror Story as the villain in season 1 and the protagonist in season 2. He plays this mutant who has like the super speed. You just have like a side story with him helping them bust Magneto out of the Pentagon secret laboratory, which his scenes were really funny. I'm surprised he wasn't in the film more. There's this one scene where they're about to get shot by like this group of 20 guards, and you just see him put on like a music set, like a Walkman or something, whatever they had back then, and run around the room so fast that everything moves in slow motion, and he just moves the bullets out of the way, sets up all the guards so they knock each other out, and it just works so beautifully, and it's just one of the really funny parts in what I find to be a dark movie. The opening brings up a lot of images of the Holocaust scenes from First Class and from the original X-Men. You see mutants and human conspirators being herded into these camps, and it shows like just like these piles of like dead mutant and human collaborator bodies. The thing with this movie, the reason why the mutants are trying to stop the Sentinels, not because they're killing mutants, but because they're killing anyone who could have the mutant gene in their family. So basically, the Sentinels are wiping out most of humanity. It was a really interesting movie, and it was an interesting new reboot of the franchise, because at the end of it, everything is back to the way it was before the end of X-Men 2 and before that shitty X-Men 3 movie. Jean is alive again. Cyclops is alive again. It is just really cool to see how everything turned out. But what's also kind of interesting is that they don't show what became of Magneto or anything, because what happens is that when the person goes back and the timeline resumes, everyone else, it would appear as everything continued on normally. Only the person who went back in time would know that anything changed. Okay, a quick thing that I want to bring up, just some minor complaints and plot holes that I kind of noticed. The reason why the Sentinels pose such a big threat is because back in the 70s they captured Mystique and they used her mutating DNA to make it so that the Sentinels could always adapt to whatever was thrown at them. But the movie never addresses how that works, because you only see one type of X-Men attacking the Sentinels. So if it's a fire one, he would turn to something that was fire resistant, or if it was ice, it would change into something that was ice resistant. But my question is, what happens if it's two opposite powers attacking the Sentinel? Could it change into two different opposite powers, or what the deal is there? Secondly, Magneto, both past and present and future Xavier, they're not in this film at all. It's just strange not having them be in an X-Men movie that much, only in it for like 3 or 4 scenes. This movie purely focuses on James McAvoy and Wolverine, and Beast is like the main characters. That was kind of cool for like a change of pace. I noticed that a lot of superhero movies are once again changing their formula, making it new so it doesn't get boring for the rest of the audience. Iron Man 3 did it. Captain America did it. Now X-Men's doing it, so it kind of works out better in the long run. It's just me. I was just wondering why they didn't have more of Michael Fassbender in there. I feel he was underutilized in this film a lot. The only other character who was underutilized and they did not give enough explanation for it was Peter Dinklage's character, who was the villain. Totally wasted. If you watch Game of Thrones, you'll know that Peter Dinklage can act and is amazing, but it felt like he was just bringing his like sleepwalking performance through this. So, like I said, the tone and the ending of this is really good. There's a few scenes in this that I was sort of lost on until the film explained it. Some of the editing in this film is a little bit confusing, because at the end of the final battle, when they're fighting Magneto takes these like metal rods out of concrete and basically twists them up inside Wolverine and flings him off into the ocean. And none of the mutants are like, holy shit, he's probably dead. It's not until like close to the end of the movie, when he's fished out of the ocean by Mystique disguised as Stryker and some other people, and it turns out that he's alive. I'm not really familiar on what his healing capabilities are, but I feel that's kind of stretching it a little bit too far. I'm not really sure.
Sorry to interrupt, but he does have really good healing.
Okay, so he could basically be underwater for more than like a day and still survive. Okay.
If you look up on his, if you read no comments, if you look up on his life and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that clears up that part. But this movie was, if you're an X-Men fan, I'd say go see it. But if you're not a fan or you're not familiar with the other movies, I'd say watch those movies first, because if not, you're going to be painfully lost. I knew of First Class. I enjoyed First Class. I just didn't know the names of all the other like side mutants I know there was Iceman played by the guy from Warehouse 13. There's some kind of flame guy, some kind of teleporter one. Someone played by Ellen Page who can like move through walls, but also has some kind of like time travel projection power. But yeah, it was very, very, very good. I'll be right back with trailers. So, trailers. Lucy was one of the trailers I got. I'd seen this before just when I was surfing through the internet to see what trailers came out that I missed. Seeing this again in theaters, this looks like a very interesting movie. It'll be cool to see the last few films that Scarlett Johansson is in before she takes her years off for her child and whatnot. In Lucy, she's these criminals, drug bosses, I really don't know, put this package inside of her. It starts leaking, and as it's leaking, she starts gaining these superpowers that allow her to like access different parts of the brain, like make better connections. She like learns how to write Chinese in an hour, can freeze time, knows karate, has super reflexes. It looks really, really cool, and Morgan Freeman's in there as the typical Morgan Freeman character. One of the lines in the trailer is like, we only use 10% of our brains, and right now she is at 20% capacity. What happens when she reaches 100? And Morgan Freeman's like, we don't know, and that'll be very interesting for all of us. I really don't know anything more about this movie than that. It looks like it's going to be an interesting little crime, revenge type of movie. I feel like this concept was already tossed out sort of in Limitless, but Limitless was kind of muddled down with other B-story bullshit that didn't really matter, so hopefully this one will be a lot better. The other trailer I got was Jupiter Ascending. I have no fucking clue what this movie is about. I've seen this trailer, and it looks something like space fighting, like two warring planets fighting, but one of them might be some kind of neo-space Earth. Mia Kunis plays some kind of space princess. I really don't know. I'm hoping there's another trailer that explains more about this. I don't know. Another trailer for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and my god, does this movie look way better than the first one. I'm not talking about that shitty Tim Burton one either. I'm talking about Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Rise of the Planet of the Apes was a good groundwork for hopefully this movie. This movie looks like it's going to be the apes are going to be the main characters, and the humans are going to be the side characters. In the overall story, it looks like there's these two factions. One part of the humans, they don't want to start a war with the apes, but then there's this other faction of humans that want to annihilate them. And like the trailer shows how they both just want to live in peace and stuff like that. It looks very, very cool. It looks like Andy Serkis is going to bring back that motion acting that we've all seen with him, like within Gollum and King Kong and the original Planet of the Apes. So it'll be pretty interesting to see. Xmen The Secret Service was the final trailer I do believe I got. This is the first I've heard of this because the past few Marvel movies that have been plugged are X-Men and Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's interesting to see a new type of movie. Basically, this movie is about some kind of orphan who gets taken into this secret assassin FBI-like thing, and action and shenanigans ensue. It looks very interesting. I've never read the comics. I've never even heard of the comics. When I first saw the trailer for this, I thought this was another take on The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but the lack of Lucy and Dr. Jekyll proved me wrong, so I'm hoping this movie will be very, very good. Marvel usually delivers on their franchises. This is obviously going to be an origin story. The trailer focused a lot more on training. It looks like there's going to be a lot of like training and just origin stuff in this. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. My next reviews that are coming up, I think I'm going to take a break and maybe do a video game one for once. The reason why this is so late being posted is because I've been busy with Wolfenstein. I'm going to try to get a review out of that because I'm a big fan of that series. So, and I'm going to be doing one of Godzilla eventually. So, see ya.